Corona. All you need to know about the deadly virus that is sweeping China. In the past few days, the coronavirus has spread again in China, with 571 cases infected, in addition to 17 deaths, forcing North Korea to close its borders to tourists as a precautionary measure to prevent the virus from neighboring China to its citizens. Chinese New Year celebrations for fear of disease. Authorities indicate that the virus is becoming rapidly and spreading rapidly, and its symptoms are very similar to seasonal influenza. So what do you know about the coronavirus? In the central Chinese city of Wuhan, panic spread after the closure of the 11 million people city where the coronavirus is believed to have originated. On Thursday, Chinese authorities banned the use of transportation lines in the sprawling city, and subways, train stations, and bus stops were closed to prevent people from entering or leaving the city. The shelves of shops, local markets and supermarkets in Wuhan city emptied food products, and face masks were carried out from pharmacies, as residents stored food and drink and isolated themselves inside their homes. The streets were empty, special police forces were seen patrolling railway stations, and citizens and all members of the government were forced to wear face masks in public places. Wuhan residents posted photos on social media of them, along with their products, snacks and fast-paced food, and the elevators inside large residential complexes were cleared, and everyone planned to stay at home for as long as possible. The number of injuries on Thursday reached 571, including 95 patients in critical condition and 17 deaths, according to Chinese authorities. At the same time, Hong Kong officials announced that holiday camps and former military barracks would be converted into quarantine places for those in contact with HIV-positive people in Wuhan. Officials announced that the seafood market in Wuhan, which sells wild animals to citizens, was the main source of the virus, as scientists believe that the virus corona is mainly animal, has been transmitted from animals to humans, and the virus has mutated rapidly and can be easily transmitted from a person to another. Wuhan residents were racing to leave the city before it became a quarantine place, with residents lining up at bus stations and airports since 2 a.m. on Thursday, hoping to leave the city. The decision was implemented from 10 a.m. and a state of emergency was declared. Coronavirus onset, fresh meat was the reason. On the Chinese New Year, local authorities held a large banquet of more than 40,000 people, days before the government announced that the new coronavirus could be transmitted among humans. Earlier, government reports indicated that the virus was under control, despite the discovery of the first case in about a month, last December, which led to anger among Wuhan residents, who were terrified and anxious after the government suddenly announced the closure of the city for quarantine. In a new report for the scientific journal of Science Alert, it was noted that the mysterious virus that is ravaging China and has claimed dozens of lives has resulted from a new strain, from the same SARS family, which claimed hundreds of lives in China more than a decade ago. Experts have initially identified a new type of coronavirus, the leading cause of the outbreak in the Chinese city of Wuhan, according to leading scientist Xu Jian. This was confirmed in the WHO report. The Wuhan Health Committee indicated that the infection broke out between 12 and the 29th of December, and the first patients were working in the city's seafood market, as confirmed by The Guardian report, as residents used to use this market to slaughter animals fresh, instead of the frozen ones, which led to it ends up spreading the disease. In the evening, under the cover of darkness, hundreds of live pigs are transported from various farms around China through rusty gates and wet inspection buildings, passing through the pigs and preparing to cross into Hong Kong, a great effort to get fresh meat. The report suggests that the great desire to eat fresh meat in China and Hong Kong may be paid for by the population, which is the same desire as the cause of the spread of diseases such as avian influenza and other diseases transmitted from animals to humans, which are difficult to control with massive movements live animals across the country from farms to slaughterhouses and then markets, making the disease spread at a rapid pace. Wuhan market was the main source of the coronavirus, indicating that the disease was transmitted from animal to human, and then the virus mutated, spreading among humans. Similar to seasonal flu, the most important way to transmit the new virus. The new coronavirus has spread throughout China and 3 other Asian countries since it first appeared in the central Chinese city of Wuhan, and North Korean authorities have closed their borders to tourists for fear of the virus reaching them through neighboring China. The virus begins with symptoms that are very similar to seasonal influenza and the accompanying respiratory secretions through sneezing and coughing, and then develops into severe pneumonia. The World Health Organization (WHO) indicates that the outbreak was caused by an unknown type of virus, the symptoms of which range from common colds to other more serious diseases such as SARS, and the disease has spread beyond China's borders, in Japan and then the USA. Corona is a virus that infects the sinuses and upper throat, and some types of virus are not dangerous, and cannot separate them from common colds, but the new type that has recently appeared in China may cause death, a type of Middle East respiratory syndrome, which in 2012, it spread to Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, Asia, and Africa, and caused more than 800 deaths. The symptoms of coronavirus range from nasal obstruction to cough and sore throat, but what makes it even more dangerous is how it is transmitted between humans, which corresponds to how seasonal influenza viruses, through respiratory secretions, are transmitted, from coughing, sneezing or touching the infected person's hand or face, as it moves through the door handles touched by the patient person, and other common methods. What is dangerous in the new virus for 2020 is the arrival of the infection in the lower respiratory tract, and the resulting acute pneumonia, much like SARS and Middle East respiratory syndrome. You can avoid infection in traditional ways by avoiding seasonal influenza by continuing to wash your hand thoroughly with warm water and soap, or hand sanitizer, as well as avoid mixing with infected individuals. A new study. Coronavirus passed to us from snakes. In that study, published today by Live Science, it was noted that the genetic sequence analysis of the new coronavirus and its comparison with more than 200 different species of coronavirus, a large family of viruses, some of which cause disease to humans and others infect animals including cats and bats. The study found that the new species has developed genetically in animals for human infection, as in Middle East respiratory syndrome (MERS) and SARS. In the study, scientists identified the new virus as a combination of 2 different types of coronaviruses, one known to infect bats, and the other whose origin was unknown. But by researching the genetic code patterns of the second type of virus, researchers found that they may have come from snakes. The study indicates that the snake is the closest wild animal to being the appropriate host for this other type of virus known as November 2019. The researchers confirmed that 2 common snakes in southeast China, including the Chinese cobra, were among the animals sold in Wuhan's seafood market, and that the virus inside the snakes has developed a viral protein that recognizes receptors in host cells. He was, therefore, able to jump across species, from snakes to humans.